Hello, I am continually playing 25 cent, 50 cent no limit on PokerStars. If you had just seen my previous hand, I had taken a huge pot off of Go Poppy Go, which left him with $27, and I built my stack up to over $136. Pretty much the same players are at the table, and now I am in the big blind with the King 10 of clubs, which is a pretty decent starting hand, especially for 6 max. I'd like to see flops for cheap if possible. I might call a raise. I probably won't re-raise with that hand too many times, especially out of the big blind. It's pretty negative expected value to do that. But depending on how the players act pre-flop, I am willing to throw in $1 or maybe $2 if need be to try to hit a big draw, or flop 2 pair straight draws out there as well that make the nuts. So I'm going to run through this hand, which actually happened to come very quickly after that hand where I just had doubled up. So players are probably a little scared of me. So we'll see. As you can see, a lot of folds. Even the guy that probably is on tilt, Go Poppy, folds. The button just limps in, which is a surprise. I don't like that play, but I decided, okay, let's see a flop. Flop comes Queen Jack 4 with 2 spades, so I've got a open-ended straight draw, no flush draw I can hit, but it's check to the turn. Of course, I don't have anything, so I'm like, all right, I'll just check, and he checks. Now the river makes a 9 of hearts, which makes me the nuts, so I come out and bet basically pot, and he re-raises me to 6. So I'm like, what can I get out of this guy? I decided to raise to 27, thinking if he's got King 10 too, we'll just chop up the pot. But he doesn't. He's got Queen Queen, so he flopped top set on the flop. There's a straight draw out there, flush draw out there. He never ever decided to make a bet until he raised me on the river when he no longer had the nuts. He still had the nuts on the flop, on the turn. But you know what? He let me draw for cheap. If I had a spade draw, I would have probably stayed in for a cheap bet. And of course, if I had 9-10 of something, I would have been in there. If I had king, ace king, but I wouldn't have played it like that. Of course, I would have been along with for the ride with him. So he tried to play his hand very sneaky, limping in pre-flop with queens, thinking that he hit it huge, but then really didn't think of trying to get value out of it. With only one player in the pot, the odds are that, of course, I didn't have anything. But I think you needed to make a bet somewhere, especially on the flop, just to see, if you don't get anything, you're not going to get anything. It happens with your big, pocket pairs. But for him to lose the amount of money he did on this hand was pretty poor, the way the action went down. I mean, on the river, I decided, okay, I got the nuts. I'm going to make a bet here. If he folds, fine, whatever. I take down the pot. Maybe he thought I was stealing. So he raised to $6, which, you know what? Maybe it's a decent play by him. But when I re-raise here, I made it like, what can I get him to call me with? If he's got King 10, he's going to either for sure call or raise all in, and we're going to chop it up. But I don't know if he'd stack off with the queens there. He might have, because I didn't feel like he was that strong a player. Any player that really limps in from the button with a full stack either loves to just see every kind of flop possible, but there's no action behind or in front of him saying that he could limp in from the button. When it's folded to you on the button, I'd recommend definitely raising majority of the hands that you're going to play. I don't know. I mean, if I'm going to steal, I'm going to raise, of course. With queens, I'd raise, of course. Any hand I'm going to raise from the button when it's folded to me that I want to take a chance at the pot. So the only question now I'm thinking is, if I shove all in there, does he stack off with his set of queens? Quite possibly, yes, especially at this limit. I think it could be the possibility. I really didn't know if maybe this guy maybe had 2 pair, or he made the 8-10 straight, because I could see that happening where he wouldn't stack off. So more or less, I just wanted to get paid off on this hand, and I thought raising to $27 would do that. And of course, he did pretty much insta-call me with his top set. So those are two hands that I just had finished playing, and I thought it was pretty funny, especially this hand, how poorly that guy played his queens. So that's it for now. You'll see more of these hopefully from me in the future. Alright, thanks guys. Good luck out there.